The Retro Buzz starts right after this. And we are live. I almost forgot how to do this. It's been a little bit too long, but we're back. We got the Retro Buzz live here with episode number 40, and we've got with us Mr. Glenn Planamento back on Earth.
I am, with all my games behind me finally. Copying your way.
Listen, there's no such thing as copying. People like to say that, but it's not.
It's
There's no
copyright.
It's emulation.
Emulation.
I was not prepared for that. That was a little too much. I'm literally almost crying now. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you very much for that rendition of Alvin and the Chipmunks. That was amazing.
Then we have the birthday boy with us, Mr. Doug Smith. How old are you now? 30 what? 35, 36?
Yeah,
21.
36.
36.
21, 35, 36 years old. 36 years young. I mean, I
He's
still go to the toy. I'm a grown man that walks into the toy aisle. First thing he goes to the store. People are like, "Oh, you need help finding something for your kid?" I'm like, "Yeah, my kid. Yeah, kid." But yeah, 36 years young. So appreciate the birthday wishes and all the kind words I've got from people today. I greatly appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, it's great to have you here and take the time to speak with us, hang out with us, and talk gaming. And we've also got this guy. He's here. He's stoked.
I'm playing the new Mario game.
Oh,
The
how you
Mario
like it so
30.
far?
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing Mario Galaxy. That's like the only one I played.
So, Daniel, let's get into that real quick and talk about this. He started playing this, and Doug and I were kind of like, "Oh, really?" He said you can't use it as a controller.
You can't connect it to your Switch because it's just like the original Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy. You have to use these Joy-Cons to detach from your Switch. So that's a big bummer, but that's the only way you could control Mario.
That is kind of like a.
I don't like that. I mean, I got my copy today. I have yet to open it, but I already don't like hearing that. It's kind of a bummer. I mean, if that's the case, then
It is.
I mean, I guess it makes sense because that's the way it originally was. But I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Don't run that game.
I like having my Switch like that.
Don't run that game on a hacked unit.
Oh,
No,
Glenn,
absolutely not.
You don't know what you're talking
crash
about,
it.
Glenn.
Well, so let's talk about that for a second. So, like everybody else, I pre-ordered 2 of them. I even though everybody's like, "Oh, Best Buy is going to cancel your order," I got 2 of them. I bought one for myself, one for my son, and my wife and I will share. She really wants to play Nintendo Super Mario 64. That was her big. That was her big one. I really want to play Sunshine because I haven't played Sunshine in since the GameCube first came out. I had that game.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in playing that. Glenn.
Hey, now you don't have to buy it for the GameCube.
True, and that's really expensive. Glenn, what do you think about them bringing the 64 Mario to the Switch? Does that entice you to open up your Switch?
For the first time?
Yeah, that thing's still pristine in the box. It hasn't been touched. But I am in a Nintendo mood as of late. Now, I was talking to you about it the other day. I actually took out my GameCube right here, and I modified it, and the modification went well, but I'm a little disappointed with the unit itself because, first of all, it's disappearing. It's like a spirit right now.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on?
The plastic, I guess, didn't age too well because if you know me, I'm very delicate with working on these things. Took the screws out, marked out where the screws went. When I went to put them back in, probably a good 5 or 6 of them kind of cracked, and I got the little right there. So now I got to repair those posts. But to modify the GameCube, I only spend about $10 on for the Xeno chip. You solder it right on the board, and then on the bottom here, when you go to the bottom of your console, there's a little slot here we get this little board. We could put a micro SD card slot in, or you could do it right in the front of the unit by getting one of these SD cards, doing it that way. So it's a total of $10 to do it, but now I'm still ticked that
You should have bought
shell-
one. You should have bought one at a
yeah,
a
and you know what?
Goodwill or something.
And you know me,
Yep.
and that's what I always do.
Yep.
This time I'm like, nah, it's not gonna be a big modification. I'll just do this.
The
Now,
only one.
I was actually on Thingiverse finding 3D printed like tops, but there's no bottoms. And so if anyone knows of a source for GameCube shells, like colored shells, because like the N64, you know, and other Nintendo consoles, they started releasing other colors.
Right.
Just disappointed now they got those posts. It's always in my brain now that the posts are not right. Like my brain.
So what are you just gonna
right.
are you just gonna super glue it and then hope that it holds, or
Well,
are you gonna try to
The
3D
plan I'm
print
going to
it?
do right now, you know how you have shrink tubing?
Yes.
They have
Mhm.
different sizes. I'm going to put some shrink tubing on there, not shrink it yet, but just put it on there. And I was going to put in either like Bondo or an epoxy, just let it slide down just to get the size right. Then I would pre-drill a hole. So it's fixable, but you know the console is pristine, and for the post just disintegrate when the same screw went in the exact same spot and they just went and cracked.
Well, I think you
It's almost a
learned.
Kathleen Kennedy level annoyance.
I was
Almost.
gonna- I think you learned. Don't mess with your good one. use
Yeah.
another
Right. Yep, that's it. That's
And
it.
isn't that always the way it happens, though? Anytime you start something that's going to be like a simple project, it snowballs and turns into this catastrophic. Oh crap! Well, I got to fix this, or this broke, and now this $10 project is a $50 project, or this
That was
30-minute job is now
Basically,
a 4.5 hour
7, 8,
job.
and 9.
one. Yep.
That's basically 7, 8, and 9. That's exactly what happened. I just steamrolled into a disaster like this ended up being. But the good part is the GameCube's got quality games and it works. 7, 8, 9, nothing.
Well, so what you're saying is, if you bought one of these, you're essentially getting a Kathleen Kennedy remix, because people are complaining about this.
Mhm.
They're complaining
Well,
about
there's
this and saying it's emulated.
It's all
from-
emulation.
yeah. Why not
Right.
the original ROM?
right.
Why is it emulated, Nintendo? What are you doing?
It was not. They didn't recreate it. Like a lot of times when they do these remastered editions, they will literally recreate the game, new code, do it the right way. I don't necessarily have a problem with it being emulated if you got good frames per second, and apparently even N64, the graphics are enhanced a little bit, looks a little bit sharper. So I don't have a problem necessarily with that. But not that I hacked my unit is not hacked. It's still in the box.
Hey, I was gonna say, you
Trying to
probably
hack
haven't even
mine.
taken the wrapper off of your
No.
of your
it's
copy
still
of Switch.
Launch day,
His
Once
time
they fresh.
capsule Nintendo Switch. That's what it is.
but there are people obviously who do that, you know, and I don't know if Nintendo did it on purpose to detect a hacked unit, but apparently it's going to crash a unit, or potentially could crash a unit. So just be careful if you do have one that might be modified.
That's Nintendo for you. I mean, if it doesn't crash your unit, you'll have a knock on the door.
Right, you know, either way, they're totally within their right. I mean, if your machine's online, I mean, Xbox, I think, was the people who really started with that. You know, if you modified your Xbox and they determined you were banned, and the machine
Yeah.
was banned. And I get that. I mean, they're protecting their rights and their consoles. And we always complained in the retro community, a lot of times we hacked and got ROMs because they weren't reselling them anymore, right? You couldn't get them anymore. Well, now they're doing it. So I have no problem with them protecting their property in those cases. When they are re-releasing, you know, games that they couldn't get before on a new platform, they're well within their right to do so. Just
Mhm.
telling you, like, when you go on a first date with someone, bring protection.
Except for you, Glenn, not
Wow.
having a date.
no, he actually had a
Yeah.
few dates this week,
Be
believe it or not.
quiet.
No, he
Yeah.
did. He seriously did. He had
I did.
He did. He
Yeah.
did.
Why?
Mhm.
What?
Rrrr.
They watched the show and they
What
wanted
were
to go out
they?
with him.
What were they? I don't know.
Dude!
Just want to take a second and give a shout out to the super chats. We got one from Daniel May and another one from P Dubs wishing me a happy birthday. So thank you guys. I greatly appreciate that.
I
Very-
don't have any dates. I'm only 8.
All super
That's probably
chats
good.
today should go to Doug's birthday gift.
No,
What
No.
could we get him? We could get him.
No.
Nope, he already has
Let me-
that. He probably has 2 or
let me-
3 of
yeah,
those.
Let me just stop you there. No.
You don't want yourself, say, I don't know, 10-inch or 15-inch tall. What was it now? Those robots I was telling you about last time.
Oh,
One
from the
was
cartoon.
Iron Giant, and the other one
Oh!
was from See?
He already has it.
Forbidden
Look,
Planet.
he's looking up. He
Yeah,
already has it.
I'm looking up at my Iron Giant. But I mean,
Wait,
who
wait.
doesn't need another robot in their life?
We have to
Yeah, no.
ask you,
Exactly.
Doug. We have to ask you because we didn't have a show last week. We have to ask you about the Millennium Falcon that you bought, the big one. What was the response of your wife when she saw this $400 toy sitting in her dining room?
Hanging in the dining room, right below the chandelier.
Well, I wasn't able to figure out a rigging system, so I haven't hung it from the ceiling yet. I did put it on the dining room table, and she was like, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, "This is our new baby." I'm like, "Do you like it?" Huh? And she's like, "How much did you pay for that?" I'm like, "Before I tell you that, I'm like, let me show you all the cool features." So I give her like the used car salesman type of thing, where I like walk her around the Millennium Falcon. I'm like, "Let me tell you about these features. You know, it's got AM, FM radio, 6-disc CD changer, leather interior. You know, give her the whole spiel." And then she's
It
like,
did the
"Well,
Kessel run in less than 32 parsecs. I mean, come on.
Exactly. I'm like, it's got sound effects from the old trilogy and the new trilogy. It comes with action figures. I'm like, it's got 6 porgs. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, and that really helped seal the deal. And then I told her the price, and she just looked at me and said I was an idiot. So, I mean, it was pretty much the
Wait.
experience I was expecting.
Speaking of birthdays,
Mhm.
I know what we should get Glenn for his birthday.
That's a long
Uh-oh.
time from now.
A girlfriend.
Oh, mail order bride.
I think they're about $20,000 for those.
Oh, here we go.
We'll stop it there, right?
So with that, you're still alive. She didn't kill you. You still have
Yeah,
it.
like I said, we have an odd setup to where me and my wife have separate bank accounts, so we don't have to like share the finances. So when I go and make a stupid, genius purchase, such as a $400 Millennium Falcon, I don't have to ask for permission. I just kind of have to ask for forgiveness when I'm like sneaking it in the door, and because it has to go somewhere in the house.
I don't think she was mad per se about the cost because she understands you're a collector.
Yeah.
I think she was more mad like that thing is like if you guys didn't see it, go over to
It's
Doug's Instagram.
Yeah.
The thing is huge.
Yeah, it was even bigger than I anticipated. It's one of those things like you can see the pictures of it, but then I opened up the door when the UPS guy dropped it off, rang the doorbell, and I was like, crap, that's easily like 25% bigger than I was anticipating as I looked down at this giant box, and then I was like, well,
That's usually the response I get. Like it's my wife will always say like, okay, gamers are the only ones that can get away with hoarding because it's collecting. But she doesn't like the big stuff around. Like, where are you gonna put it? And I start mentioning it goes outside of this room, and then she's like, oh no. You have to find a place inside the room or you're not getting it, type of thing.
That's kind of the ground rules I've been set. Like I've got all the nerdy stuff upstairs in different rooms, downstairs where we're civilized, normal individuals, except for like when company comes over, we're still super nerds. And I'm like, time to whip out the fine china. And I give everybody like these plastic little Land Before Time cups that came from Pizza Hut in 1984 and like some Aladdin dinner plates. You know, we're real fancy in that way. But everything else, my wife's like, no, you can't have any nerdy stuff downstairs. That's the adult area of the house.
Well, the one good thing is something like that. It's a collectible you can keep out all year. I just blew $400 on a couple of Halloween decorations.
Hey, you didn't
That's
blow.
bigger than my dining room table, you know?
Yeah,
At least
Halloween
that's something you can enjoy.
Halloween is the best holiday there is. So, I mean, in my humble opinion, that is a worthwhile investment. I mean, that's the gift that keeps on giving. You don't have to take those decorations down. Like if you got, beef with the mailman, Glenn, you set that stuff up, hide it a little bit on the porch, give them a little jolt. They'll take better care of your packages.
It's always fun watching Blue when I take this out because he absolutely hates them all. He wants to kill them.
That's you saw my response to you, Glenn, on Twitter.
Yep.
You said, "Am I crazy?" I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." For buying $300.
Simple. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I admit every Halloween I take a week off from work to set up the whole house. I have projectors. I got these animatronics. I dig up some corpses. I lay them around the lawn. It takes time.
It sounds like
What, you got an Indian burial ground in the backyard there, Glenn?
He probably
Got some,
does.
sounds like you're
I
burying up your
can't talk
wife's-
about it.
Cannot confirm
That's
or
what the guys
deny.
get mad.
I mean, that's pretty interesting. All right, let's kind of move. Let's switch gears here. We got Michael B. He said that was a good. He's telling you it was a good investment. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to hear.
So let's talk about the big debacle. It's not like it's on the lower third or anything. You know, it's the elephant in the room. Let's talk about this here. PS5 versus Xbox, and I titled it this way only because of the way the pre-orders went. Doug, you managed to get one. So what happened?
I was fortunate enough to just like be on the internet at the right time, because the way it unveiled is like Sony had their big little, presentation online where they're showing off new games and everything. Great presentation, in my opinion. I liked what I saw. And then they're like, all right, pre-orders are going to go live tomorrow. We'll let you know when. And previously, prior to that, they had already sent out like this special email sign up thing for people to be like the first to know when pre-orders are going live. And then like not 2 hours later, retailers just started going rogue and like started selling pre-orders without notice. Like Walmart was the first. They sold out in like 20 minutes. And then Best Buy and Target jumped in. And then was it like, I think Newegg and Amazon. It was just like dominoes, because everyone was like rushing to these websites trying to pre-order them. If they got lucky, they got into the first like 10-minute window, they were able to get one, which is great. Otherwise, they were getting a lot of error messages, or they would put the PS5 in their cart and they wouldn't let them check out. Just all sorts of issues.
I had that
website,
problem with Best Buy. Yeah. I had that problem.
GameStop's website legitimately thought it was under a cyber attack because it was getting so much, flooded traffic to it that it had like this, you have been blocked message on their main screen the moment you typed it in, because it was literally shutting them down, and they had to like take the website down for 10 minutes to try to recode it and, handle the extra traffic. And of course, in typical GameStop fashion, they come back and said, hey, we got, PlayStation 5, but we're going to bundle it for $799.
Oh, man, that really pisses me off when they do that.
That was ridiculous. I would not pay for that.
Yeah.
That's why I hate pre-orders to begin with. I just hate it because of what just happened here. But then when they start saying, yeah, we got them, we're going to sell all this other garbage you don't want to get it.
Yep. Pretty much. I mean, the bright side is like you can return a lot of that stuff typically to GameStop. So like you pick up your pre-order and it's like, all right, I want to return this, this, and this, and the guy just groans at you. But I'm like, if you wouldn't, try to screw me over with an $800 bundle when all I wanted was the $400 system, then we wouldn't be having this discussion, guy. But that's the why and the reasons GameStop are struggling like they are. And of course, Xbox, they took note of all this fiasco and everything, and they tweeted out, hey, don't worry, you can pre-order the Xbox coming on September 22nd at 8 a.m., on this website, and this website. They were very open and clear, and there's none of this, surprise pre-orders type of thing. They just laughed at the Sony debacle, and, they're just going to reap the benefits of it and not get as much negative publicity as Sony has been taking these last 48 hours.
You know what I love about Sony and Microsoft is each launch, one's able to spit in the other one's face with a bad launch. When you had the Xbox One, when they were saying you couldn't use used games on there, right? It was like you couldn't bring your games over. Sony was sure, oh yeah, we're fine with that, man. Do it.
Yeah.
Microsoft got slapped in the face. So this how happened. Microsoft's like, oh, it's our turn now. Hey, we're going to do it right. We're not going to screw you over like Sony just did.
But that's a first,
I find that
though.
more entertaining than the launch itself.
But that's a first, though.
The political mudslinging back and forth.
Yes.
Yeah. Because Sony's usually ahead. Sony usually has it together. The only thing that they didn't do well was the online presence, right? With the online gaming. Xbox, they're not going to take that from Xbox. Everybody knows that. If you think that Sony's online experience is better, well, sorry for you. But
just triple protect your account.
Yeah.
Get stolen.
But
hey, I mean, if you don't mind having your identity stolen, you got a free like $20 game as an apology from
Sony. Oh yeah, I mean,
I was one of those people.
But Doug, you'll spend the next two years watching your credit report because and all
entertainment
and the expense that you probably went through to lock your credit. I mean, it happens.
All your money
backhanded whoopsie.
All your money, every time you spend some money, it just goes like, this is how much you have right now, down, down, down.
Yeah, they'll keep.
That was Millennium Falcon.
But see, that's the other thing too, right? So Xbox had the Game Pass. Yep. Then Sony came out. I forget what they're calling it now, but they're doing something a lot similar.
Yeah.
Right? And they're saying, oh, well, you can play all your PS4 games. I think
Yeah, it's a
I
lot
don't
of
think they went
the
all the way
heavy
back.
hitting PS4 titles. Basically, it's like a lot of their big success stories of this generation. You said, hey, you can download these and play them, instantly on day one with PS5, which is, their version of the Game Pass, and it's also something they're trying to, in my opinion, facilitate a fill-in because honestly, there's not a whole lot of launch titles.
No,
I mean,
and
and
that goes to the
that's kind
question.
of typical.
So Eminem wrote in the chat here. I'm going to pull this up here. He wrote this on here. He said, Steven, did you pre-order the PS5? I did not. 3 times, just for the sake of doing it. I had it in my cart, and I went to hit checkout, and they weren't sold out. And it kept coming up with an error. It says it can't process, it can't go forward, or whatever it was saying. It was in red letters. It wouldn't go past that screen. So I was like, forget it. And you guys know, even from the beginning, I was not very compelled to get it launch day, that or Xbox, because there's nothing that really jumped out at me except the Spider-Man game. That was the only game that jumped out at me that said, that looks really good, but do I need it launch day?
No,
Right.
you don't. Why can't you just get it
Dad.
Yeah, I'm
a
amazed to
week
hear that from
later.
Daniel, first of all.
A week later.
Oh, a
after
week
the
later. You hear
launch
him, guys.
day.
A
There you go.
week later.
After the launch
He's showing
day.
you how patient he is at his young age.
Yeah.
You stunned him. Look at that.
Like, just, why not a week?
Well, it's not so
Yeah.
much
I
a
don't know if
week.
you
You're going to
guys-
be waiting a
I don't know
month.
if you guys read it. There was a super chat here from Nathan Henderson, just wishing Cool Toy happy birthday, and he gave you a super chat to go towards your Millennium Falcon payment.
Thank you so much, Nathan. I appreciate that. I appreciate that greatly. Thanks, man.
So, Doug, sounds like you
Mhm.
have the great wife because she yells at you almost every day from spending like so much money. And what are you gonna do about it?
I'm going to compliment the cake she made for my birthday to no
Nice.
end and tell her how beautiful she is and how much she is greatly appreciated because I'm not a fool and I like sleeping inside and not outside.
So you just love spending money by collecting.
Yes, and I'm going to admit right now that I will be trying to buy an Xbox pre-order next week as well.
I was just going to say, so are you going to actually go with both consoles right out the gate?
Yeah, and I will be the first to admit I have zero argument as to why I'm doing it, other than the fact that I just feel like I need them both. I don't really need them both because there's nothing really on both of them that's like the Halo game is the main reason I was, excited for the new Xbox, and then it got delayed. So I'm like,
Till 2022, I heard now.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'm gonna eventually get it, but like, I'm like you. There wasn't a whole lot of these launch title games right out of the gate that are like really singing to me. Besides Spider-Man,
I'll be honest. A lot of the Switch games that are coming out in 2021, I am so glad I bought it because this is just one side. If they do a Zelda like this, all next year. I mean, they did
so
confirm a Switch Pro. Now, I don't know if that's going to be something that's going to use different games, which I would imagine.
Ooh, I can't wait to get that and leave that in the box.
He's going to leave that.
Oh
in the
wait,
box.
wait. What if it comes with retro games?
Listen, RGT85, he did a video on it. I didn't get a chance to watch it. My power went out, and I was scrambling to get the show back up after the power came back on. So, RGT, you'll have to watch his video if you didn't watch it. Good friend of the show. So, RGT85 did a video on it and talked about they did confirm it. That's as much as I know because that's what his title says. So, you'll have to go watch that. Unless Doug, or Glenn, if you guys got any info on that, I don't, unfortunately.
I just want to know what the box looks like.
so you can put it on top of the other one, have them side by side. Yeah. No, I unless for whatever reason, unless the Switch Pro or whatever it ends up being called, has physical different games, I'll stick with my day one Switch. I'm happy with it. I don't need 4K resolution for my Switch games. I'm just happy playing them portably the way they are, and
I agree.
Retro titles like Mario All Stars and things like that enough to keep me busy for quite a while.
Agreed.
And that's still the biggest thing for the Switch. So I hear, since I don't play it, is you are playing the same game you're playing on your machine. You're taking it with you. You know, it's not having to be recreated. It's not a drummed down version. You're playing the actual game. So kudos to people actually enjoying it.
Yeah, you need. I'm telling you, Glenn. Everybody in the chat needs to tell them.
Open it
it up. Play the
What
Switch.
are you waiting for? You had one up